Hey, welcome back to Creative Loop TV. This is Andy. Today in the loop we have Ameera, the face behind the popular lifestyle blog Kicking It with Mimi. Kicking It with Mimi is a lifestyle blog that explores fashion, entertainment, events, travel and lifestyle trends in Zimbabwe and Africa. Mimi received the Zimbabwe Fashion Week Blogger of the Year in 2014 and 15. Join us as we have a chat with her. Hi Mimi, welcome to Creative Loop in the Loop.
Oh, hi Andrea, thank you for having me on the Loop. I'm super excited to be on your platform.
We're excited to have you too.
Awesome.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. So I'm Mimi. I was actually born Ameera Murad. It's a very long name, but Mimi was a nickname my cousin gave to me and it's just stuck over the years. And I've really had a passion in media. Studied media at UCT. When I came back to Zimbabwe, started working in the advertising space, started my blog at the same time, and I think that blog has really just grown. And it transformed from a fashion to a lifestyle and travel. So I think you really come to my platforms and you get to experience the exciting things you can do in Zimbabwe and Africa. And won a few awards along the way, which has been, I think, very exciting and very rewarding, I think, after all the hard work.
Wow, that's awesome. How did you decide on the name Kicking It with Mimi?
Yeah, I think I wanted something relaxing. I felt like people have so much stress on their day-to-day. I felt media was either about economic or political issues in the country. We don't really get to escape. And so I wanted people to feel like, okay, the name's going to represent that you're kicking it, you're chilling, it's relaxed. So yeah, I came up with that name and I think it stuck.
Yeah, it did.
And so it's really just, I think, an informal, just, that when you come to my space, we're kicking it, we're relaxing, it's just chill vibes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you started off with you said fashion?
Yes, I started off in fashion as a
Okay.
fashion blogger and then transformed into travel and lifestyle.
Okay. And have you always had the passion for traveling, or was it something that you did strategically to grow your page?
So it's been quite interesting. I think my audience and my platform have grown with me as my interests have evolved. I think when I started off, I was interested in fashion. I still am interested in fashion, but I think I then realized that, I also do a lot of traveling. And so I think there was a lot of focus on that. There were events that I would go to and people would want to know about that. So I think I just grew the brand. And I think I just entered my 30s. When I started, I was 21. So I think like many 21-year-olds, you're discovering yourself, you're discovering your interests. And so I think for me, I would never have thought I would be a travel blogger when I started at 21. So I think I'll keep growing. I mean, who knows where I could end up? I could end up in food,
Yeah.
So I think it's just evolving. And I think as human beings, we should always want to keep growing ourselves and learning a lot more about ourselves. And I think on my platform, my audiences feel that as well. And I think a lot of women, or even men as well, just want to experience a good life. And I think that's really what it is about. It's about lifestyle. And yeah.
So you started this in your 20s. What are some of the challenges that you faced starting out? I know there's issues like with money. When you want to travel, there's issues even with fashion.
The money is there's always money challenges.
Yeah, so what are some of the challenges that you had setting yourself up?
Yeah, I think the first thing is obviously, I think being taken seriously when you're 21, because people just think, okay, what does a 21-year-old know? So I think I really had to prove myself. And show that I can be professional, I know what I'm talking about, I understand media and marketing. And I think having been able to work in the marketing space as well, because I do have corporate clients, I was able to really understand how to sell myself as a brand and to grow my brand. So I think the challenges are just developing your brand when you're young. And so you have to be very strategic, you have to be deliberate about what you do, and you have to be professional. So I've had to learn, I've had to upscale. I didn't always know how to do video editing, for example. Taught myself how to do that. So I think you have to learn a lot when you're younger, and even when you're older, you're always learning. And so you have to keep upscaling. So I think those are the challenges, and financial will always be there because the economy is tight that we're operating in. So marketing is always the first budget that goes. So I think really trying to show your value is key to okay, we can cut costs here, we can make it affordable, but I think covering, approaching it in a very open-minded way and being strategic is important to overcome that. But there will always be challenges, and I think even more so with what's happened now with COVID, a lot of things have changed. So you always have to just look and see how can I approach this? How can I overcome my challenges?
So the thing with many content creators or bloggers is they tell themselves, I'll do a couple of articles and soon people will be paying me for my influence. What do you think about that? Is that something that is true? Is that something that's been true for you? Do you have to fund yourself for a long time before you get people's attention? What has been your experience in terms of the finances of the blog?
I think that it's a tricky one because I think everyone's road to success is different. I think that it takes a lot more than a few articles to get out there and to get noticed. I think it's more about the quality content, and sometimes quality content doesn't even have to be that expensive. You can actually use a phone now. If you have a decent smartphone, you can create great content. I think we're seeing that now with TikTokers. Sometimes it's not even the great camera, but the script is so funny, the actual content is hilarious and people watch it even though the camera might not be that great. So I think people notice good content, and so you can start with a basic phone, and as you go along you get your ring light, you start investing in those items that you need. So I think it's really just developing your content and your brand and having some quality content, and you build as you grow. And I think that's how people take notice of you. And I think this TikTok generation is proving that, people are making money, people are monetizing their platforms. So sometimes, you might not necessarily need corporates. And I think when corporates start seeing the traction on your page, that's when they want to work with you, get noticed. So I think it's really, everyone's journey is different, but I think it really boils down to the content.
Okay. So I've noticed something that really stands out with your videos. You're a very bold woman. You wear your hair colors boldly.
Yes.
You are very confident in your body, and I've seen you wearing bikinis a lot. I've seen you in a tub.
Plus size, yes.
So where do you draw that confidence from?
Yeah. So funnily enough, I wasn't always confident. I think something just changed along the way where I realized, we gotta love ourselves.
True.
It's funny because culturally, when you're too big, people say, you're too big. When you lose weight, people say, but you're too skinny. So I then realized that you'll never satisfy people. So you have to have self-love, self-confidence, and say, I'm beautiful. I then realized that, most Zimbabwean women are plus size, or what we coin plus size, and why can't we be sexy too? Why can't we wear a bikini? And the hair colors became part of my personality. I wanted to be flamboyant. So I think it's really, I look at Rihanna, for example. I mean, she's pregnant right now and she's so bold and unapologetic. And I'm like, wow, it takes such a long way to get there, but it must be so beautiful when you just love yourself and you do things for yourself. And I think when you start living a life that way, you live a happier, fuller life. So I think I just want people to live a life where they're confident with themselves and, feel like, I'm happy. I love myself. I love my body. I love my, my life. And I think that's really where it's been. And it's a journey. Like every other woman or man, you also have days where you feel low. And so you just have to always look at the glass as half full rather than half empty, just so that, you feel positive and great about yourself. And I think you should just be unapologetic.
Okay, so given the society that we live in, sometimes maybe a woman will think, I cannot wear a bikini on camera because I've got my parents, and what will my parents think, or what will my friends think? What has been the reception like with your family? Like when they see a video of you wearing a bikini, or they see a video of you in the tub, like the one in Victoria Falls.
Yes.
What is the general response to them seeing that? Do they support you in it? Do they ever ask you questions like who took the video?
All those questions. I love that.
Do they ever ask you those questions? What is the general reception been with your friends and your family?
I think my friends definitely, I think even my family have been very open-minded. I come from a Muslim family, which is very interesting. My sister wears a headscarf.
I noticed
yes.
as well. I think you took it to Nyanga.
Yes. The So we're very open-minded and I think accepting family. I've never had anyone say, oh, that's a bit, out of line. And I think now that I'm in my 30s, even more so, people are like, I think there's this whole movement when a woman's in her 30s, I mean, really, she's, in ownership of her life.
Yeah.
I think when I was younger, because I've gotten bold along the way, so it's like, okay, well, she is an adult. She's doing it respectfully. I still hold our family morals, still respect my parents. And I think that's what really matters to them. I think my dad used to watch my videos. Now he's just like, okay, she does her thing. I think he's just happy that I've been able to find my voice. He was always worried when I did media. What would I be an unemployed reporter?
Yeah,
what would I be doing? I think a lot of parents get scared. So I think he's happy that I found my passion. So along the way, they've supported it. And I think because I do it tastefully, rather than, I think that does help a bit, that it seems more tasteful, but they've been supportive. Very few people have actually, maybe they're afraid to say it because I'm so bold about it, but I mean, no one's really actually, I think, called me out. No, not at all.
That's awesome. It's good when you have the support that you need, because it's one thing to like doing something, and then it's another to not have your friends or your family be able to support you.
Because you need a good support system. I've been fortunate. I have a very strong support system and supportive family. My sister will pray 5 times a day. I do Ramadan, but she's accepted me for who I am, and I think she sees that my beliefs are still the same. I'm just a bit more open on certain aspects, but I think as a family we've found to be tolerant of the next person as long as our core values are still the same and that we still respect one another. So I think strong support system. Very, very lucky to have that, because not a lot of people do have that,
especially like culture, society.
Especially women are put under a microscope. There's so much that we have to live up to, and I think now with the world changing, women are working, they still have roles at home. There's just a lot of pressure on women, but I think that things are slowly changing, where we are getting opportunities, but we still have a long way to go.
So tell us, what are some of the biggest milestones in your journey thus far?
I think definitely getting the awards were amazing because they were voted by the public. So sometimes when you're creating the content, you're like, okay, who's actually watching this content? Like you wonder, you question yourself sometimes as a content creator. And I think when people and your peers recognize you, I think for me that has definitely been fantastic. And I think partners, I got to work with Legacy Lifestyle for 3 years, and I was one of the first, Zimbabwean bloggers to work with them. I think, there's so many milestones, and I think, wow, that was amazing. I got to do that. Got to go to Mauritius with DSTV. There's been so many great moments, and even just now going to River Lodge, there's moments where for me it feels surreal that my brand has gotten me to where it has, because I would never have imagined that. So I think just my partners, people who have also taken the leap of faith in me to support me, I think that's always a reminder, and I never take it for granted. Even moments like this, being on the platform and talking to you and having the platform to share my journey with. So I think I never take things for granted. There's so many moments I'm appreciative of, but I would say those are the key ones.
Okay, how has the COVID-19, we've been going through this whole pandemic with the COVID-19 since 2020 in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
How has this affected your blog and your vlogging?
So, wow, COVID has presented opportunities and challenges. So I'll start with the challenges. I mean, I think financial is the first thing. Everyone took a knock, and especially for me, who had been working a lot with travel partners, there was a time I think a lot of hospitality brands were thinking, what next? Some had to let people go after many years, and they were just trying to keep afloat. So I think it meant that a lot of people had reduced funds to do marketing. Even with corporates, I think people were just trying to stay afloat. So I think that was the main one. In terms of opportunities, we became more digitalized, I think. Everyone is more dependent on social media. Brands have seen the importance of social media. It was the one way to kind of communicate with people when people were locked at home and couldn't get out. I've been seeing now, I think it's crazy when you think of COVID, it's almost been here for 2 years, right?
It's been quite a while.
Yeah, and so end of last year, I noticed brands wanting to open travel opportunities were picking up. I think, now with vaccination programs happening. So, even the Vic Falls trip, I had so many awesome partners to work with, from, the Palm Hotel to Ilala to River Lodge, so that they were open-minded to do that and do those exchanges. So I think it is picking up now, and I think people are seeing more of the importance of influencers that can really help either drive bookings or sales or whatever products it is. So I think there's a lot of opportunities that we can latch on if we use it smartly. But of course, COVID has changed quite a bit, but I'm looking at the positive sides of it.
Yeah. So you've been around for a long time, I think 11 years?
Yes, yeah, correct.
And you've made it through COVID.
Yes.
How do you stay
Thank
motivated? Like how do you keep that drive going? How do you stay motivated as a content creator, blogger, vlogger?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm a naturally curious person. So I want to explore, I want to see more. So for me, I'm pushing myself all the time. I'm thinking, okay, what next? I've never been to Europe, how about we talk about Europe? How about we talk about other African countries? It's not easy, of course, trying to sell your brand, I think, to other markets. But I think for me, I just think that curiosity in me, that naturally, I think a life lover in my spirit that wants to see the world, that has that passion for it. I think that's really what keeps me going. There have been times when I'm like, okay, maybe, should I retire my blog? And then I'm reminded by people, I get so many people asking for advice. They inbox me, where can I find this? Where can I do? What did you think of this? Even just going to a restaurant, and I realize, okay, that my brand actually has, made an impact, that people see me as a thought leader in this lifestyle space. And so I think for me, I'm motivated by that people respect what I think and what my experiences are. So I think that's what keeps pushing me going forward. And I think I genuinely just love the media space. It is just a passion. I think it's a fun space.
It is.
And, it's great if we can actually monetize it and, do a lot more from it and make your passions, actually sustainable and viable. So that's really what I think drives me. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So what's next for Kicking It with Mimi? What do you have planned for the year, for the next 5 years? Where do you see this brand expanding to or growing into?
So I think I definitely want to go more international as well. I think Zim will always be my focus and my passion. I'm Zimbabwean. But I think there's so much to see in the world. So I would love to be able to partner, I think, with a lot of international brands as well. So I would love to grow in that direction. I think when the older you get, there's pressure to, I think, make a certain living from your passion. So I think for me, I would really like to monetize it more. I think in the 20s, I was just like, it was just like, okay, this is great, this is going somewhere.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. But I think now you want to monetize it. So I've realized, just things like being a consultant, being able to help drive marketing strategies. I think that having worked for almost 10 years in the marketing space, that I can add value, whether it's SMEs to corporates. I think for me that's really important. And also just having like brands, I'm working on a chili sauce. I'm doing, I would love to just, I think, have the different passions that I'm in and actually offer products. And I think, that's the way the world is kind of going, where you can kind of be, having multiple streams of income. So I think that's really where I want to go with my brand.
Okay. So there are a lot of people that would also like to establish themselves in the creative space, and they want to also be travel bloggers like you, vloggers as well. What advice would you give them in setting up their brands?
So the first thing I would say is they should do a lot of research. If you want to be into the fitness space, if you want to be into the makeup space, do your research, really understand what's happening in that space so that you can tailor it. Find your niche, what makes you different. I think this space is quite busy, and what is going to make you different? Is it that you're going to be doing plus size? Is it that you're going to be looking at travel and it's affordable travel? I think really finding your niche is important, because when you know what makes you unique, I think people then latch that in your community builds around that. Upscaling is extremely important. I'm not saying do everything, but it's important to understand how things work. Over the years, I had to learn things like website management to handle my website. I've had to learn about paid media. I've had to learn about video editing, photography, lighting. There's so much that goes into content creation, and so you have to upscale. And I think you continuously just have to see what the trends are. And I think when you do that, you're able to actually build yourself and start yourself and slowly get there. It can be overwhelming, but just be strategic, be deliberate about what you're doing. Networking is extremely important. I would never have gotten here without networking. I remember 10 years ago, Zimbabwean was very popular. I remember going to the editor and founder of Zimbabwean and saying, can I work with you? And through that, I was able to meet a lot of people in the media spaces, which could then help me secure interviews, support, so little things like that are important. Doing internships. You know, I think now people have gotten so comfortable with thinking that you can go viral and not doing the work. Sometimes you have to do the work to learn. And so for me, that work has contributed to where I am now, you know, and I don't think people should underestimate the importance of just doing the work.
I'd also like to know, what inspires you? You've got a really great fashion sense.
Okay.
What inspires you? Because, you know, like, you also wear clothes that are not typically worn by, you know, plus size women.
Yes.
What inspires, like, how do you choose your
my
clothes?
looks, yeah.
Even when you go for your shoots, how do you decide, okay, so this is what I'm going to wear?
So I think over the years I've discovered my palette and taste in fashion. I love colorful, I love bold. You know, I got to work with people like Tapuma Munengi. I've been working with him for years, and we've really figured out my style. My style, like I said, is very bold. I like things that I felt that, you know, I got tired of seeing boring clothes for plus size women. If you notice, it's genuinely really boring. It doesn't really have great shape. It's just boring. And I was like, well, you know, why can't we accentuate what we have already? Why can't clothes be fun for plus size too? Why does it after size 10 get boring, or size 12 or whatever it is? I think for me, I wanted to have fun with my style and be unapologetic and just, you know, be colorful too. And I think plus size women want to feel every woman wants to feel beautiful, you know. And I think for me, that's when I put an outfit on, I want to feel great. When I'm planning for a shoot, I'll think about, you know, okay, are we going to do formal, semi-formal, what is it? You know, I think always understanding what you're attending, making sure. I'm one of those people, I'm like, okay, what is the dress code for this? You know, asking those questions. It's so important to dress for the occasion. So yeah, I think my love for fashion has really grown, and I think working with people like Tapuma Ne, who understands me, who gets my body, we're able to actually come up with clothes that are fun. I think my multiple identities of being African and Indian has fueled my interest. You know, when I was in South Africa, I got this beautiful gift from, you know, my friend who's Zulu, and just loving the different influences that we have. I think if we look around us, you know, in Africa, there's so many beautiful things that we can apply to our style. And so for me, I try to do that as well, is to find things that I love and appeal to my identity and that have inspired me, and I put a look together.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Hey guys, this is Mimi from Kicking It with Mimi, and you are watching Creative Loop TV. You can follow me at Ameera Mimi on Instagram, or you can just check out my website, Kicking It with Mimi, and it has all the links to my platforms. Thank you for having me, guys.